And in my inbound mailbox, there was some stuff there pretty old. I'm not saying 4 years. But anyhow, I came back, and that's where I joined. But obviously, I could sit still about 15 minutes, and then I'd get up and walk. And I don't like to sit still very long anyhow. If I get up and leave, I will be back here. But anyhow, I'm at that desk and, trying to get back in a different sync. And what I did now really wasn't that important in the big picture. And what I was doing over Tokyo was really big. Mm-hmm. And here's a whole shift in life.
Yes.
And a slower pace in the responsibilities. I was a very poor clerk. And I was confused about life and things like that. And I'd get out and walk around the halls. And then after that, I'd go down on the elevator and walk around the streets in Cincinnati. And I must say that the Rock Island was understanding and actually promoted me to where I would have an outside job selling. And so that was very considerate of them. We don't want to talk too much about the Rock Island.
No, we could talk about the Rock
there,
Island, right, yeah. But I just wanted to throw a side note in there that, the little town of Harrington, which is a very small town, played a very important part in World War II with the B-29.
Oh, see, did they have long runways there?
I think not extremely long, no.
So when they were completed at Wichita, that's where our plane was built, mm-hmm. Did they fly them out of Wichita Airport up to Harrington to give mm-hmm. to us?
Yes. If I remember right, if I remember my history right, that's how they got to Harrington, to Salina, to Pratt. Of course, the first ones came to Pratt for testing. But
which side are you on, left or right up there?
I'm on the left side.
Left side?
Mm-hmm.
And I'm on the right side.
All right. Well, you were at Mather Field, and from Mather Field, where'd you go?
Our next stop from Mather Field, California, was to Rogers Field in Honolulu. I think we only spent a day and a half at Mather Field, and then we took off at night. We were alone, again, on this mission, the second leg of our flight to our destination. And we climbed, I'd say, to 18,000 feet. And we were only about 90 miles from the coast, from the Pacific Ocean. And as we were moving west, by this time, in December of 1944, the lights in the city of San Francisco was on. There were no blackouts. We thought the subs were all gone. But as we were moving out, and I knew San Francisco would be off on our left side shortly, and so I just alerted the crew. I said, hey guys, in a few minutes we're going to be coming up. We'll be north of San Francisco, and the look down, it's a crystal clear night, and you might want to take a look at it. And I know I did. And so as we came up on it and looked down on that city, it's a beautiful city at night, beautiful in the daytime. The quality of person might be different, than in other places, but I'm talking about beauty of the place and everything. So as it came up, all of a sudden, our crew was normally very loquacious, chit-chat, unimportant things, and it's, again, building that team thing and everything, and they all must have looked down and thought that was a good idea because there was no discussion whatsoever. And I can only speak for myself. As we passed and looked down there and saw the city, then for the first time, I had the feeling of this was different, what we were doing now. And I think I related to the family at home, and we were leaving the family. We were leaving training and all of that, and we were going to combat. And it just seemed to be that there was a transition in life from youth to manhood. And it was pretty marked in my mind then. And so there was no talk, and then you hit the ocean, and there's still light, and then you move out. Maybe we're 20 minutes out, we're away from shore, and it's totally dark down below. Stars are brilliant up ahead and on top. And I think that did take place. Now, to the other people, I don't know how they felt about it, but maybe they had the same feeling, and I never will forget it. And since I've flown almost 6 million air miles, and a lot of them into and out of San Francisco, even now, sometimes when at nighttime and look down there, my mind goes back to then. And that was something. And then so we flew, and it took us 11 hours and 20 minutes I remember unimportant things in life, but I specifically, the biggest thing we'd flown over before that in our training was the southern tip of Lake Michigan. And now we're crossing 2,240 miles of ocean. And we're alone. And so we did get in there, and they were all, we could have homed in on the radio there. And they said, "You want a radio?" I said, "I don't want anything. I want to do this thing, no assistance like that."
Honing your skills.
Sir?
Honing your skills.
Yeah, that's right. You got to learn to do that stuff. And if I look bad and tell them that Diamond Head is going to be on our right in 16 minutes, then it should be there. And so we did, and to pull into there and see the island, and then we went in and landed at Rogers Field. I think we spent, I don't know, maybe 2 days there. Next orders were Kwajalein. I didn't know where Kwajalein was and didn't know how to spell it. But we headed for there. And as I recall, that was about 2,000 miles also. A pretty long leg, and the reason we had to go into there, we could not get to our ultimate destination, which was Saipan in the northern Mariana Islands, where we were going to operate from to bomb Japan. So we spent a night at Kwajalein. That was a very small atoll there, and the fueling islands, and boy, they didn't want you in there more than one night because they had, I don't know how many planes they could accommodate, B-29s, but they were coming in there and going out. So from there, I think it was only about 6 hours to Saipan, and to come in there, and land, and you're out there in the tropics now, the Central Pacific, and some of our fellas who were there ahead of us, they had to come out, and they're veterans by now. They had been up to Tokyo, big time stuff now, You guys don't know, but you know how you do, just like school kids. Only our weapon was bigger, 29, and so they all did want to help us. You better dig an air raid shelter, immediately, and don't tell us what to do. And the Japanese were coming down from Iwo Jima, which was about 650 miles north of there, coming down with Betty bombers and some things like that. And that very first night that we arrived, while we were quiet ridiculing them, a raid came over, and the air raid siren sounded, and the one of the planes, Black Widows, were up there, and shooting down planes and bombs, and that's when you knew. That's another transition you make. We were digging. It was very difficult digging in the coral over there at Saipan, but you did something. And so now we were getting in and started to fly our missions.
Flew your missions out of Saipan.
Saipan.
And you flew to Tokyo.
The first mission we flew was probably a warm-up mission, and would be our first experience with real flak. So we went up to Iwo Jima. And I think some of the fellows said, "Hey, that wasn't even combat." But to us, that was combat. And go up there, and maybe it took us 3 hours or something to get up. And the target was the runways down on Iwo Jima. And the first time we came over, we didn't have a good setup. Like when we had the fishing boat down below with the retired guys, we knew we could drop it. And when you're a little nervous and then some flak breaks, everything changes. So we did come in with a good mission. It wasn't going to affect the outcome of the war, but at least we knew we could drop live bombs and hit the runway. And that's what we did. And coming home, though, I recall I was lucky to have a good family, mother, dad, and brothers. And I thought when I was over there especially, but coming back from there, I thought, gee, this is Christmas Eve back home. I didn't adjust for the time differential, and I could. But I said, this is Christmas Eve at home, and Mother and Daddy, and if he's not working, he works 7 days a week, we'll be around a Christmas tree, and we'll have the little electric train out, and we'll have the gifts, and we're opening them, and the Dick Tracy little books were 10 cents.
Right.
Big stuff.
Right.
We had the B-29 early Christmas, But so I thought of them, and you get kind of said, and you say, wow, I got to get back there, And so that was the first mission. Then we went up to Kobe, Akashi, and we weren't flying good missions as B-29s in those days. We at that altitude, and we hit the strange thing. Tonight, weatherman, I was up with Carl, the radio station man, this morning, and we were talking about the jet stream, We didn't know what it was. But that wind would be 180, 200 miles an hour, and you get up there.
Yeah, I've read about that, where they didn't understand that.